Hi, Mike Riley here with Gaining Altitude Financial. And as we're coming to the end of the year, one of the financial opportunities that's going to expire for you is being able to set up a first home savings account and deposit $8,000 into it. So many of the families that I work with and individuals, buying a home is one of their number one financial goals, and it can be very challenging. So a couple of years ago, the federal government set up a new program called the First Home Savings Account. It has three very distinctive characteristics. The first is, if you contribute into it and you've never purchased a home before, you get a tax deduction based on your current marginal tax rate. The second is that while the money is invested inside your first home savings account, there's no tax on the growth. And then when you take that money out to use it as a deposit for your first home, there's no tax at withdrawal either. So any of the gains that you've had inside that are not taxable. Every person is entitled to $8,000 of room that they can contribute each calendar year. Now the thing with that is that $8,000 of eligibility does not start until you open up your first home savings account. It's not like the TFSA where it just rolls over if you don't use it. So right now, as we come to the end of the year, if you have not opened a tax-free a first home savings account, you will not be entitled to deposit that $8,000 of eligibility. Now, I have this conversation and people say, well, I don't have $8,000, so why should I bother? Well, here's why. If you open a first home savings account before the end of the year and only put $100 into it, for example, you start the clock on that $8,000 of eligibility. Then in the next year, you get another $8,000 of eligibility, which means that you can contribute $16,000 should you happen to get $16,000. But if you wait until next year and then open that tax-free savings account, you'll only have the $8,000 for the subsequent year. So if you get $16,000, you won't be able to contribute all of it into the first home savings account. So that's one reason why you would start it. You can also borrow to invest in this, and you can borrow whether you have a line of credit or you can walk into a financial institution, and if you can get a loan for $8,000 in much the same way that people borrow to invest inside their RRSP, you can do that with the first home savings account. So if you borrowed $8,000 for your first home savings account and made that deposit, you can then use the refund that you'll get in the subsequent year to help pay down that loan. So let's say you're in a 30% tax bracket and you borrow $8,000 and invest it inside the tax-free savings account before the end of this year. You will get back $2,400 in your tax return for that contribution. So when you subtract the two, the only outstanding amount that you'll have is $5,600. So why would you do that? Well, if you wanted to start contributing to make sure that you had $8,000 a year, you would have to put in $666 a month. It's a little bit less if you do it biweekly, but let's just work on that. Now, if you did borrow to invest and put in $8,000 and then used your tax refund in order to pay down some of that loan, to pay back that $5,600, you would only have to contribute $467 a month. So not only is it less to make those contributions to pay that back, but that whole time you've had the $8,000 generating interest inside your first home savings account, and you can keep rolling that over year after year. Currently, the federal government rules are that you can contribute no more than $40,000 to your first home savings account, and if you are a couple together, that's $80,000 that you can each contribute. I suspect that amount may increase in years going forward, but right now it's only 40. But from what I see, there's no downside to at least opening up your first home savings account, get a small deposit in, start the clock on that, and then in the new year we can talk about whether it's how it is that you can best maximize those contributions, whether it's by regular investment or by getting a loan for that. So I hope that casts a little bit of light on this First Home Savings Account. I think it's a terrific tool for younger people to be able to start that dream of home ownership. I'd love to be able to sit down and help you do that. It's a very easy process. Contact me and I can answer your questions. So that's Mike Riley with Gaining Altitude Financial, helping you gain altitude and gain some confidence.